fact that the computer is very important in our world today. For you to be able to use it effectively, you must understand the basic components. And the key thing to note while using the system today is understanding what we call the system units of the computer. I want to look at all these in this particular interaction. Once again, I'm Dr. Invaluable Sylvester, and it's wonderful to have you here. Let's go into it. So when we talk about the system unit of the computer, that is the core of every system. That's where all the operations take place. The system unit of a computer is so important that it coordinates every other component for effective use and to execute specific tasks. The system unit is also the aspect of a computer that is responsible for the operations of the system and all the calculations that goes on within the system. It's with the aid of these system units we are able to integrate various parts of the computer to ensure that we have a seamless performance. In other words, it is very essential for efficient task execution. If your system unit is faulty, nothing can happen with that particular system. That's because it is the central hub for all computer operations and tasks. Without it, nothing can be done. And so, in general, it ensures the smooth functioning of our computer. That is what the system unit does. As you talk about the system unit, it has various components. The first thing to note is what we call the motherboard. That will actually connects all the components of the computer, the motherboard. If you have a system and the motherboard is faulty, that system is as good as useless. Then we have the CPU, the central processing unit. It performs all the processing tasks and calculations of the system. Then in terms of storage, still in the system unit, we have the RAM. The RAM stores data temporarily for quick access. So you have, if you open your system at times and you press your Control E, you will find that Windows E, you will find that you are going to have what called quick access. A list of minimum of 20 files will be displayed. They are stored temporarily at the RAM. Beyond the RAM, we have other places that will store information generally in the computer system. And the primary means of long-term data storage can be found in the solid-state drive. And so, talking about the system unit, storage devices are used to retain data for long-term use. And one of them, like I mentioned initially, the solid-state drive, where data can be stored for a very long time. As you also observe the system unit, you have what we call the expansion cards in the system unit. The motherboard, the CPU, the RAM, the storage devices. What are the expansion cards? And they enhance system capability for that. We also have a cooling system, yes. If the cooling system is faulty, the system will be hot, it's going to burn up. So it prevents it from overheating. That's the function. You have your I/O ports, which you use to connect your standard devices. You have your USB ports. So all these make up the system units of the computer. I mentioned input devices earlier. Now, what input devices allow us to do, the USB ports and the rest, they allow users to interact with computers generally. Now, your input devices like your keyboard, your mouse, your scanners, those are the common input devices. They enable you to input data. they are able to input data. So they actually send data, user-generated data to the computer system. It's through your input device you send this particular data. And each of these input devices, whether it is your keyboard, your mouse, your scanners, they all have specific functions they carry out. And what they do is that they convert physical actions into digital signals. If I type E on my system, it's going to appear in my monitor in the system. So that's what it is. It has taken a physical action into a digital signal at that particular point in time. So they are very efficient. If used efficiently, input devices can improve our experience generally. Yes. That's because they are essential for efficient computer operations and control. If you can't use your input devices very well, like your keyboard, your mouse, your scanners, you are going to be stuck when you are working generally. That's very important. Let's deal with some of the input devices I mentioned. I did mention the keyboard, the mouse, which this is the plural for mouse, the touch screens, the joysticks, the scanners. For the keyboard, either input text, execute commands, shortcuts. Use the keyboard for that. Shortcut keys, which you are going to learn in other lessons. For the mouse, is you control your cursor in terms of navigation. You control your cursor, you move from one place to the other within the system. Your touch screen helps you to direct interaction. You offer direct interaction, and in terms of display, you touch it. Most of the things there are touch screens. You tap on it and then it works. So we have the touch screens. The joysticks is to provide control mainly for gaming purpose. That's just it. Joysticks are used mainly for gaming purpose. The scanners convert physical documents into digital formats. I have a particular letter, I can scan it, and then it becomes a digital document. Now what you have to do, you go on the internet, you're going to find a lot of words that are scanned and put their logos all over the places. Now each of these devices that I have mentioned have their different features and their capabilities from our discussion so far. Now when we combine all their forms, their features, all their functions like the keyboard, the mouse, the touchscreen, the joystick, the scanners, it gives you an holistic experience and help you to cover a very wide range of interaction within the system. I've mentioned the joystick. It is actually an input device used to control the position and movement of a cursor on a computer screen. That is what the joystick does. For the keyboard, like I explained just now, it is used commonly to input data, give instruction to a computer. That's the basic function. For the scanner, what it does is that it converts our physical document into digital formats, like I iterated. So these functions are very important. Know them. Now we have another input device which you do not have on your screen. It's called a microphone. The microphone helps you generally to capture audio signals and then it converts them to electrical signals. The device I'm using right now is a microphone that is capturing the signals, what I'm speaking to this particular presentation, and it's converting it to electrical signals. That's the reason you can hear the voice as you're watching the video right now and learning in the comfort of your home. Having seen different types of input devices and their function and their basic function, let's look at in a holistic manner the functions and the features of each of the input devices. Now for the keyboard, you have what we call the letter keys on the keyboard. You have the numeric keys, you have the function keys. All these are the features of the keyboard. You have your alpha keys, your numeric keys, and your function keys. You want to note them, they are very, very vital. For the mouse, we have the button, you have the wheel that will scroll, and then you also have the optical sensor. Yes, the optical sensor in the mouse. These are the features of these particular input devices. For the touch screen, they detect inputs using capacitive technology. And what touchscreen does, you just the sense, yes, that's what it does. For joysticks, we have axes and buttons for precise movements for a joystick. Then for scanners, we use light to digitize documents. When you put your documents in the scanner, it's going to go through. You see the light ray that passes, and then it scans the document. Now, there are features cater for the various need of users. We've seen the functions and the features of basic input devices. The question now is, what are their importance? How is it important to you in the humanities when you're interacting with the computer? Now, for the input devices, they bridge the gap between the users and the computer. That's what it does. I want to write something, my keyboard will bridge the gap between me and my system. They enable us to enter data efficiently and also execute different commands. I want to copy a document, I want to paste, I want to type. It's through all these input devices I'm able to carry out those functions. In the long run, they will enhance our productivity and we derive satisfaction from it. That is what we get. So they actually provide us with necessary controls for software applications at the same time. And so without these input devices, using the computer will be challenging. Imagine you want to type without a keyboard. You want to type, there's no mouse to move around. It will be very challenging to operate the system. And so they are very critical, and in terms of accessibility and usability of the system. And their quality, the kind of quality our input devices give us will go a long way to affect our overall computing experience. That's what it's going to do. Now, we've talked much on them. You can see the various input devices. The joystick is there, the keyboard is there, the scanner is there, the microphone is there, and the mouse is there. All of them are mentioned. You see them in this particular images. These are samples of keyboards, mice, touch screens, joysticks, scanners. They are all input devices performing important functions. Now, let's talk about the storage in the computer system. I will call the hard disk drive, which is the HDD. We have the solid state drive, the SSD. We also have the optical drive. The question now is, what are their functions? Now, for the hard disk drives and the solid state drive, they are primarily storage devices. That is why if you are asked, for example, what is the primary means of storing long-term data, let's explain this before in an exam condition. The primary means of storing data for long-term is in the solid state drive. That's where you store them for a very long time, where they are stored. It's important we note all those. Very, very important. Now, they use spinning disk to store data. That's what it does. And so for the solid state drive, we have flash memory for faster performance. They use flash memory for faster performance. For the optical drive, what they do is that they read data and they write up on optical disk. You have them in your CD-ROMs and the likes. Now, these storage devices ensure long-term data preservation. That is the key thing I was trying to emphasize. They ensure long-term data preservation, reliability. I can keep a work in my solid state drive for years. It's going to be safe, provided that system is good to go. As it enables data retrieval when necessary, so you can store them, you can also retrieve them when you need them. And there are different types, usage type, they balance the speed and capacity of each system. So these are key things to know as far as storage devices are concerned in the computer system. We've taken time to look at the input devices. Now let's talk briefly on the output devices. When you talk about output devices, of course, your monitor, the one in front of you right now, you are using to watch this video, It's an output device. Your printer, you use it to print documents. 5. It's an output device. The speaker, you use it to hear audio. It's an output device. Your headphones, to deliver private and precise sound outputs. They are all output devices. So the monitor displays visuals of high definition quality. Today we use the HD qualities. The printer produces hard copies of the digital files. Your speaker provides clear, immersive audio experiences. What are their importance? These output devices we are looking at right now, they enhance our interaction and productivity with the computer system. And so technology improvements through the use of these tools have actually led to more efficient devices than what we have currently. And so we also experience better performance through and overall satisfaction in their usage. That's the importance of all these tools. So we have devices used to display results. Let's say you are asking an exam. There are devices that are used to display results are called in a computer can be what? They say input device, output device, storage device, processing unit. Of course, it's our monitor that displays results, and that is an output device. So output device definitely is the answer for that kind of question. Now when you are asked questions like which output device is used to display visual information, of course that's your monitor. That should be the answer. It displays visual information. Now when I ask you what type of output device is used to produce hard copies as a student, you should know from my explanation thus far that your printer is the output device that is used to produce hard copies of digital documents. And then if you are asked again which audio output device enables users to listen to sounds generated by a system, you have things like printer, monitors, speakers and headphones. Of course your answer is speakers and headphones from what I have explained so far. They are used to deliver private information, concise audios, and giving us a wholesome experience. And these are photographs of output devices. You can see your monitors, you see the printer, you see the speakers, you see the headphones. These are all output devices. As you can see, just 3 images scattered around the screen. They are very, very vital. Take note of them, their function. Looking at the system units, but now we have input device and the output devices. We have explained all of them. But right now, what is the system unit? As to summarize, that is what houses and coordinates the internal components of the computer. That's the first thing to note. Now, understanding components' roles will actually aid you to maintain your system. It aid you to maintain your system. Because the system must be maintained like human body. Now, the input devices, as we discussed earlier, allows data entry into computers, whereas the output device allows data processing by the computers. And so we have internal components of the computer that ensure smooth functionality, and we have what we call the troubleshooting. It requires to know your various components as well and their roles. Overall, there's effective interaction, and if it's going to be there in our experience, it's going to depend on the inputs and the output devices for us to have an effective interaction. Thank you so much for your time and listening. I believe you had a wonderful experience. This is Flehub. Hit the subscribe button if you have gotten value from it. For now, bye bye. See you in the next video.